Hello, and welcome to one part of the documentary. This is the middle school part. We're going to talk about 2020 to 2023. Right now, we're basically going to talk about middle school and high school together as one in this video. So, hopefully I am loud and clear to whoever's watching this. So we're going to start off, I would say 2018. We're going to start in 2018. 2018 was a pretty okay year. I would say so myself. In the beginning, I think it was like a rocky start because I was still in 6th grade at the time, and I was going through like a transition. It was Christmas was coming up, and I was hitting 7th grade. 7th grade was right around the corner. I was like, oh my God, I'm leaving this place. It was called I went to Dawes Avenue School for kindergarten to 6th. And obviously all my younger years will be talked about in a different video. And in 6th grade, it was okay. But we went to 7th grade. They had a little bit of a mix-up of homeroom. They basically said that homeroom had to be near your locker. So that when you went from homeroom to your locker, you were like right across. My locker was a little farther away from my technical homeroom. And they ended up moving me to a new homeroom where it was like right across. Very interesting mix-up. As a garbage man, we're outside. Just gonna deal with that. So, back on the topic. 7th grade was an okay year. It was smooth sailing kind of. I only had one friend. His only friend was one person. His name was Andy. Everyone probably knows him nowadays. He's a little bit of a weird guy now. Changed over the few years, so it's kind of like the guy I kind of want to hang out with anymore. So we're not friends no more. Don't talk, nothing. So 7th grade was an okay year, I would say so. It was pretty interesting. Actually, I think we dissected something in our science class that year, and we had to eat it. It was calamari. We had to dissect a type of squid thing, and we ate a calamari. And I didn't like it. I learned it very quickly. Seafood is not my thing. I do not like seafood. I ate that, and I was like, no, didn't like it. 7th grade was okay though. I pretty much enjoyed the majority of that year. It was okay. It was like a mid-year though. We hit the 8th grade. This is where the peak begins. Interesting shit. Alright. So we hit the September. I began 8th grade, and right before 8th grade even started, I was having issues. I wasn't able to sleep very well in the beginning of 8th grade, so I had to take a little bit till I actually, got back to a normal sleep cycle. Because normally during the summertime, kids and nowadays, you stay up late and you don't really care about the next day because you're off the next day. You don't have anything to do. And nowadays, when you get a job, that changes very quickly. But anyway, during that time, I had like a weird dream, like a very weird, freaky ass dream where I was in like a society with everybody I knew, but we all lived into this just giant dome home together as one, and our parents were killed. Like, I don't know, it was some weird shit, crazy shit going on in my head, and like it was like some weird ass dream, and it was like about like all of us had to witness our parents' murders, and then when we did, we'd be like a little bit of traumatization that would only last like 2 days, and I had to witness it, but I wasn't traumatized. I don't know, it was just a very fucking weird dream. That's all I have to say about that. I had a dream, and in that same dream, my crush ended up dying. She got shot, and I had to witness it, and I couldn't save her, and it really hurt. So like, I woke up from the dream. I ended up having a little bit of a tear moment. Like, I teared up a little bit. Like, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it just happened. I literally walked out my room and made sure everyone was still around. I was like, it was a dream. I was like, it's a dream. It was a weird ass dream though. That's all I have to really say. I will be talking about my dreams and shit too, just so you know, when I was younger and shit. Because there is a moment when I was younger that we'll get to. Probably not right now, but later. So, we were in 8th grade. 8th grade is pretty okay. We moved into January. Well, actually, we're not going to go that far in. So, I was talking about my friends. This is the year I started to actually make more friends. I started to come out of my shell and start talking. I started talking to more people. I started talking to a lot of people, actually. I talked to Aiden Clark. I talked to JJ Sinclair. I talked to a guy named Giovanni, but we didn't really talk that much. I started talking to Nathaniel D. Nathaniel D. Leon Carney. He's now one of my boys right now. So, what else was that? There's a lot of people I was talking to in 8th grade. I was talking to a guy named Mason. I was also talking to... Who the hell was I talking to in 8th grade? I remember a lot of people that I talked to, but I don't remember like everybody I kept talking to every single day. I think I was talking to a guy named John. I don't know. Probably not. I think I tried talking to my crush herself, and I didn't. Or I tried, and I kind of failed, and I kind of fumbled. Because I was never like I guess at the time I wasn't the type of guy to confront shit like that. Like I just wasn't ready to confront that stuff. And I talked to a guy named Trey, a guy named Morris. I remember in my history class, I think it was, I got stuck in the middle of a circle of girls. I sat in the middle of everybody, and I was like just sitting there. I'm like, can I please have a dinner with you? I just wanted a new seat. Like, this is uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable where I sat. Like, it was a girl in front of me, girl right there, girl right next to me, girl right there, girl behind me even. And it was like, where the fuck? Where's the boys at? Like, come on. Like, what? I was just confused. Basically, at the time, I was just confused. I wanted to be near the boys. I didn't want to be with all the girls. Because obviously, all the girls knew each other, and they all had their girl talk. And I would be the one just sitting there in silence, muted. You know, I just couldn't. Just wouldn't listen. I was like, where the fuck the boys at, man? I got no one to talk to. I'm sitting here with people I don't even fucking know. I don't even talk to them. So it was like, shit. That was one memory of 8th grade that I remember. And that's about all I can say about 8th grade, really. There's like that part. I remember I used to do TikToks in my art class. Like, we were allowed to have our phone in our art class. Please don't get her fired if she finds it. Like we used to be able to take our phones to art class, and we used to sneak them out of our lockers and just go right to art class. And once we went to art class, we just play on our phones, go on TikTok, play games, or like take pictures. But like anything we wanted to do, we did it with our phone. And we were allowed to do it in art class because it was fun. Teacher walks in, we hid the phone immediately. That was our job. We could also go on our computer, had no restrictions, we could do whatever. It was like whatever. But then they started putting restrictions on. Like, shit. Can't do anything, man. Damn. But besides that, and I do remember this one particular year as well. It's the first year I wanted to do a sport. It was the year I wanted to do a sport in athletics. I wanted to do something like that. We'll get on to what the other passion was a little earlier beforehand. Now, obviously, during this time, it was 8th grade. And I wanted to do football in my high school year. I wanted to start high school, and I wanted to go and do football, pursue a career in football. My friend JJ, he was completely on board with the idea, and he completely saw the idea of me trying and going for it. Same with another friend of mine whose name is Javian, which we call Bam. He was also on board with it. He was one of my good friends as well. He was going to try and help me. So what we did during recess, there was like one in particular day, or like one or two particular days, that we would run drills, and he would show me the drill. He was like, do this, do that, and I'll throw it and you catch it. I would do the drill perfectly, at least like once or the first or second time, and then I'll catch it and I'll get the ball. I would have caught it every single time though. Yeah, basically I ran the drill correctly my first or second time, and I caught the ball both times regardless. And if I dropped it because I was nervous, we redid it and we catch it. We move on from there, kind of moving in. I was still on the board with the idea of football. However, we started to move into the pandemic era. The pandemic was on the rise, and it was starting to go up. And we were about to hit the peak. March happened, and March ended up happening. I was still in the football at the time, and March hit up. And this is when pro wrestling started to really consume my life and put its mark on my heart to where I love it to death today. This is where it starts. But before we can get to that, I was really into like football. I was like really into it, and then I started thinking about wrestling because I was at my aunt's house the majority of the time. And we had a trampoline in the backyard, and I really had invested my time on going on the trampoline all the time. It was having fun. I was like doing wrestling shit, and I was like, just fun. And I was like thinking to myself, like, I'd like if I did wrestling. Like, what if I did pro wrestling? What if I became a WWE superstar? What if I tried doing that? And I saw, like, not too long beforehand, in October 2019, AEW, All Elite Wrestling live tonight on TNT. First episode. I said, that seems interesting. I saw Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes, and some indie guys I did not know back then, but I know now. Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks. I was like looking into that. I was like, that's like an interesting place. And when I found out John Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, who was used to, I was watching lots of wrestling in this time as well. Like, I was looking up SummerSlam 2018. I was literally, during 2018 and SummerSlam was out, I was like literally on my phone going, fuck the videos at, you know, like I was like looking for all the matches and shit. I even found out about Dean Ambrose's return the same year. I was like, yay, Ambrose is back. We got the Shield back together. And I was like, I kind of forgot all about him. I was like wondering where the hell has he been and everything like that at the time. So now we go back to where we were in 2020, where the pandemic happened. We hit March, at least late March, I think. And the pandemic hits and we were all straight up in lockdown. We all got stuck in our houses and we all couldn't leave. What better things to do? Let's go in the backyard, shall we? So I had to do my work. I did my work on a daily damn basis. I did my work and shit and just kept doing all my schoolwork and crap. And when I got done, I would just either go, and I'm a collector right now. So I would collect wrestling figures, and we'll get onto that collection a little earlier in my life, but not right now. And I would take my figures, fuck with them, do wrestling moves with them, and then I'd be like, I'll make a maneuver with the two figures, and they'll be like, oh, that was like a good move. And I would go outside and try and reenact the same maneuver to see if I can execute it. When I would execute it, excuse me, I think I could burp or something. Alright. And I would go outside and I would reenact that same move, the move that I created with my figures. That's why I have some figures, and like some of the figures that are out, mostly out of the packaging, are mostly just to take pictures of, have like the title belts on around their waist, have cool pictures, and maybe sometimes grab one or two and then recreate a finishing move or create something new with them to see if I can use it myself in my moveset. Since I was really developing into the lunatic, I devoted my time and everything to wrestling. That football really became more of like, nah, I'd rather do this. One most important thing I do want to mention about 2020, a little early in February 21st, 2020. I want to mention that in particular date and that day, I know some people don't remember, some people do, but I remember it as the day I wanted to commit suicide. The day I wanted to commit suicide, I was really debating on it. I went home, I was upset about something, don't remember, but I was upset and I wanted to go home. I was going to slit my wrist. What I wanted to do was really go home, wait for everyone to leave because I was going to be home alone, because they had to go get my uncle from work. And I was going to have a little bit of free time by myself, and I was going to be like, you know what, bam, go. I mentioned the situation, I told them about it, they knew something was up. I told my grandpa when he was alive, and I told my grandma, and they were both upset about the idea that I came up with that idea in the first place, and they ended up helping me. For some reasons, they got police were called, and when they were called, I think like right before, I asked my friends what my worth was. Like, should I be alive? Like, should I die? And then he was like, you shouldn't be thinking about that, bro. Like, you should not be thinking about that. Don't be thinking about that. You shouldn't be. And like, I was about to cry mid-sentence as he was talking. I was like about to tear up because I knew that was the end. That I was going to do it that day. But I didn't. I ended up getting a text message out of that same night and the next night. And he reached out to me on a social media app. It was TikTok, and he texted me and said, hey, listen, I care about you. You're my friend. Don't do it unless you, again, like, you're cool. Like, come on. I love you. You're my bro. And it meant a lot to me when he said that, because it was like, wow, someone I know actually does, me and my friends do really care. Like, they do care about me. And, like, my friends care about me. My grandfather cared about me. He was the one who, this is where the impact was for my grandfather. I know I look really tired right now, but I'm trying to be awake as much as I can to do this. I know my grandfather was a big influence because he always looked for a solution to something. Like, if there was an issue, he would always look for a solution. He would always do that. He would never give up. Basically, what I am today. Myself, personally, I am the type of person who, if there's a way, we're gonna find that fucking way, and we're gonna do it. So, basically, that's basically my whole personality in a way. I'm gonna do everything I have into this if I love it. And if I really want that fucking solution, I'm gonna try everything I can to get to it. So basically, that's basically what his influence was, and what he did was he actually believed in me. He believed I can do whatever I wanted to do, whatever I thought of. He wanted me to do it, and that's where the influence was. So with the people who were there during that day, I was talking to my mom. My mom was like very upset about that I came up with the idea and came out about it, and she was like, we were talking, and she made a subject. She says, "Listen, I'd rather you collect these figures than go out and get drugs and shit. I'd rather you collect it," because I mentioned about the figures. I said, we're paying so much money on figures that I really am a big fucking letdown to everybody, and I'm holding everyone back from all the money that we could be having. I'm spending on fucking figures. She says, "I'd rather you collect these figures than going out vaping, smoking cigarettes, getting drugs, or, whatever, like all the bad shit." And I was like, okay, at least it's not bad shit, it's figures. So I kind of really took that to heart a little bit. I was like, all right. And I would show like these real stuff, and we had officers involved. They just taught us like what other officers would probably say. I don't remember what they were telling us. I think they just told us to get help or something. My mom ended up giving me a therapist, and was in therapy for about 6 months. It was a 6-month process. Longest 6 months of my life, to be honest with you. It was a long 6 months. Because every day was like a good day, because every day I kind of like, ever since that particular day and ever since my friend reached out, I started to feel better about myself. I started to feel good, and I was like, all right, I'm happy, I enjoy my life, like I forget about this, forget about that. I love my life, and I've lived it ever since then. And yeah, even though this is temporarily, because I'll get into what happens later on, but like during that time I was just like, damn, I wanted to die. And it was like, shit. I think about it now, I still remember that. It was just like not a good day for me that I remember, but that's what it is. So we move on forward. It's not too late. It was like late 2020, around December-ish. And 2020 was an okay year, I guess, besides that little setback. And the 6 months I went through for my therapy was good. We were all good. All signs pointed that you're all good. So everything was fine. I was practicing wrestling at this time as well. I was wrestling, like over and over and over again. Freshman year begins, and we had a decision: virtual or going to school for a certain amount of days. And eventually, that was lifted to every week. We're all virtual. I chose all virtual. The reason why I chose all virtual is because I had an issue where if I would go, I would get very anxious, and I would get a nervous stomach to where I have to use the bathroom a lot. And I think it's still an issue today. Like, I'm getting one a little bit right now, but like during that timeline, I was like really bad, so I always had to use the bathroom like every few minutes. So I said, you know what? I don't want to be nervous no more. I'm gonna stay home. I'm just gonna stay home and be calm. Obviously, that went as well as you thought it would. I ended up having to go to summer school. Yay! Don't care. 2 hours still. Hated it. So I went to summer school. Oh my god. Alright, so anyway, freshman year was just a year. It was crap. It wasn't good. It was virtual. I took the driver's thing. I don't remember what it was called. I'm gonna take driver's ed or some shit. And I asked my grandmother to help me with the test. I figured, hey, I have someone who's an experienced driver. Let's try it. I fucking like did not get a good score on it. I had a pretty bad score. I'm not gonna tell you what my score was. It wasn't a straight up F, 0 to whatever. it was not a good score. I had a pretty okay score, but it wasn't good either. It was not a good. It was not A level or B level or C level or even D level. It was pretty bad. And I blamed it on my grandmother for that. I really do blame my grandmother for that one. So anyway, we move forward again. And freshman year really didn't have much to it. I remember this is a good story to start off with. Nearing the end of me leaving to go for all virtual school, the last time I was in school, I got locked outside the building. Literally. I was locked outside the building. That's all I remember from my freshman year. Is literally I got locked outside the damn building. I was locked outside the building. So me and my teacher in the class, as my photojournalism class, I was supposed to pick an elective. I didn't know what to pick, so I just said, the hell with it, let's pick photojournalism. Yeah, photojournalism. Something that me in particular is not into learning. So, yeah. I take that class, we go outside, and as we're going outside, I got confused. I thought my class went inside, and we're going through Mustang Lane. There was people there, and I was like, "What the fuck? Why are there people there?" And we're going near them. We're gonna run into confusion, so I run back to look for my class, and I turn back around. You're nowhere to be found. I'm like, what? I run all the way back around half the building. I find my teacher. I look out the door. I'm running. I'm literally sprinting to figure out what the fuck the entrance would be. I look up and I see my teacher. I'm like, hey, right here. So I go back up there, and I felt very embarrassed after that moment. I was like, oh, I got locked out in the building. And that's when I decided to never go back in school and just come back in sophomore year. So that was how embarrassed I was. We go back to summer school. Summer school was pretty fun. It wasn't as bad as I made it sound to be. It wasn't as bad. It's just like annoying 2 hours. Had to wake up early. Had to take a damn bus back and forth. At least there was not many people going, so I didn't really care. I did not really care. I went to summer school. I got my points. I made a junior year and whatever. During the sophomore, I made the sophomore year. My bad. I made the sophomore year at least. And during the summer school, I actually had a very nice defining moment where wrestling literally was the heart and soul of the summer. I would literally non-stop go on this trampoline to practice and have a couple friends over, and we all be fucking wrestling for literally hours almost every single day. We would be on that damn trampoline wrestling, just not giving a fuck about the world. We wrestled. When they weren't there, I practiced. I did not care. That's how fucking amazing 2021 was for me in the beginning. We go into late 2021. We go into September. And it was a good month. It was a okay month. It was like the beginning of me being back in the school again. Mask on. And that's about all I have to say about that year. Day 2, I literally have a Snapchat picture of me saying, day 2 gonna be lit. And it was pretty lit. The sophomore year, it was like when everyone got back to school, it was pretty fucking cool. We go on to September, we go into October. October was an okay month for me. It was a good month, regardless of whatever the fuck was going on in October. I don't remember much from October that year. I don't remember much. I guess not much really happened that month. We go in November, and we reach... no, I don't remember what October was. I went to my very first football game. So, in October, very late October, nearing right on the edge of November, like October 29th, 2021, I ended up, there was like a Halloween thing going on in the parking lot. I was not so interested in going to do whatever the fuck was that. Oh, it was trunk or treat. It was for little kids. My aunt wanted to go there along with her brother. At the time, her brother was a drunk. He was a drunk. He drank a lot. And I'm not talking about a couple beers. I'm talking like constant drinking. Even heavy shit, like whiskey, everything. He was a drinker. Very heavy drinker during this time. And he had surgery on his one knee, and he also had surgery on his back. So when we got there, we kind of walked around a little bit, and he started to pain, basically. And because of alcohol, that does not really help you, does it? So hurts his knee, hurts his back. My aunt helped him back to the car. She said, do you want to go see the football game? Because there's a football game that same exact night. She said, you want to go see the game? And I said, yeah, I'll go see the game. She gave me some money and said, if you want food, you can go get food there. Just go to the game. So I was like, first football game. Cool. I walk up to the gate, and this is an interesting little interaction. They're like, do you have a ticket? And I'm like, no. Are you wearing white? Yes. They said, I guess you can pass. Pass, you can go. You can go. So I got a free ticket. I went to the school. I had my ID with me. And I was like, yeah, I got a free fucking pass. So I got like a free nice little pass to go watch my first football game. I go up to the bleachers and I just sit there and I'm enjoying some music because I had my headphones on. I was listening to some music. I was like, chilling the night. It's a very nice night. I was enjoying the night. The night was nice. Let's see where this goes downhill. Alright, let's see. Where do I start? I hate to cut this short. As I was saying, last time I was talking about my middle school years, all the way up to sophomore year. As I was saying, we were in late October. It was October 29th, 2021. I went to see my very first football game. And during this time, I was sitting on the bleachers. Standing on the bleachers, actually, because everyone else was standing up, going, let's go team! And I'm like, we're losing. Anyway, couldn't help but make that joke. Alright. And I was standing up on the bleachers, and I see this girl. Oh my god, man. Ooh, she was pretty as hell. Like, the first moment I saw her, I was like, oh my fucking god. I just thought of nothing. I looked at her, I was like, damn, she's so fucking pretty. Look at being her, yeah, occasionally her. I was looking at her face the whole time. She was just so fucking beautiful. I just couldn't, like, damn, she was just pretty as fuck. She was, like, just, so, my god. So, I went to one of my friends, Morris, who I talked to back in 8th grade. One of my 8th grade friends. I didn't mention him in the video last time because he wasn't like, I didn't really talk to him that often, but this is the point where I started talking to him more. So my friend Morris, great, I go to him, I'm like, she saying? And this is the look I get out of his face. Laughing, closed hands, and everything. I'm like, dude, just tell me she's single, and what's her name? like, I don't learn until later that night. So like later that night, so during the whole thing, I was like still standing with them, and I was standing with Morris, and we were having a fun time, and everything. I remember during that same night, I got to see Bam again. I was like, I haven't seen you in two years. Like, how have you been? And he's like, oh, good, man. Good. Because he goes to a different high school. I think he goes to Holy Spirit now. I don't remember exactly where he goes now, but I think he either goes to Holy Spirit or another place, or it's another school. I think he had like a red jersey on. I don't remember where he goes to, but he's doing well. But back then, we was talking about the beautiful girl. I learned the beautiful girl's name, and I learned it that same night. Her name was Sadie. And during this time, not knowing anything, I was like really into her. So I was like, she's like really pretty, I want to talk to her and everything like that. And I couldn't really muster the words to go up and talk to her. At one point, we kind of like walked down the stairs and we would leave after like the game was over. We all had to leave because it was a Thursday night of all nights. And everyone was so disappointed, like, why do you have to go to school tomorrow, bro? Like, I heard all of that shit in the back. I was like, I know. It hurts. Thursday. Alright. So we get back to what we were doing. I met this guy named Jack. Jack was a pretty cool guy when I met him. I was like, hey, what's up? When I'm uncomfortable with a situation, this is the shit that I always pull. I always try to talk to somebody else, start a conversation with them to get out of whatever the fuck's going on, like, whatever's going on in general. So like, if my friends are trying to hype me up to go talk to a girl, I'm gonna try and talk to somebody else and just back away from that subject. That's kind of like what I do. I distract myself from the subject at hand. It doesn't happen as much nowadays, but it happened a lot back then. So I was talking to this guy Jack. I met this guy Jack. He's like, yo, he was telling me this some sort of advice because my friends were like telling me do this and that, and I was like, oh, okay. So we were having fun that night. We kind of like messing around. All of us were. And apparently they told me to hug her, and she was like, air hug, and I'm like, okay, it works too. I was completely cool with a fucking air hug. Honestly, I did not want anything more. I just wanted that, and I was good to leave for the night. So then we went go, and then after the little event, shit happened. She walked away with a friend. She started to walk away, and I went up to her and I apologized for being weird, because that was the weirdest first impression anyone's ever gotten of me. The weirdest fucking first impression. A couple days go by, nothing really happens. I'm just chilling, enjoying my life, wrestling still, and just still enjoying. November 9th. I regret, like, very. November 9th, 2021 is the fateful day that I decided to do something drastic. A friend of mine, Julian, his name is Jules, comes up with the idea. He says, he tells me, he says, hey, let's make a sign. You like this girl, right? And I was like, yeah. He says, let's make a sign. Let's make a nice little sign. And you can ask her to homecoming, because homecoming was literally around the corner. It was coming up that Saturday. He was like, let's make a sign. We gotta do it today or tomorrow, whatever one you want. I said, today. Get it over with. We make the sign. He says, what do you want on the sign? I said, okay. I picked what I want on the sign. I said, do you want me to draw it or you draw it? And I said, my writing is atrocious. You draw it. So he draws the sign. When he gets the sign done, I am the one who's gonna hold it, give it to the person. So he takes the sign with him the whole time. And then around, like, we start moving on to all the other mods. He gets a mod too, and I'm sitting there, like, enjoying my life. I'm just, this is a nice day. I look at the time. The mod's almost over. And I take a minute, and I realize, shit, I have to go ask this girl now. Oh, like, at the time, I'm not, like, that type of dude to just do something so crazy. I was the type of guy to just do it sincerely and in person. Whew. So I was like, all right, we gotta prepare for this. So I was like, kind of like trying to relieve the anxiety. I was like literally doing some weird shit, going, relieve anxiety, this isn't music and shit. I was panicking. I get a text message from Julian. I'm standing in A-Hall. He says, yo, you ready? Come down to the cafeteria. I said, I go down to the cafeteria, and they're like, all right, you ready? You ready? They're like, hyping me up and shit. You ready to do this? You ready to do this? You know where we are? She's in B-Hall. You gotta go down there. That's where she used to sit. I was like, okay. I was so in panic. I was do this. I'm doing a whole big ass thing. I mean, it'd be cool. I mean, like, that's the thing that I kind of always thought of doing because I always thought, like, a big sign just shows how much you really want to be with this girl. I always kind of thought of doing it, but I never really thought it was gonna happen the first year I come back to school. So yeah, I go back to school, and here we are, November 9th. We get to the point where we start walking down B-Hall. I'm about to panic, because I was like, oh shit, we're getting right near B-Hall, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna fucking ask this woman. I'm gonna ask her to homecoming, and it was a big ass sign, and everybody's gonna watch. Oh fuck. I sat there, standing on one fucking knee. I just had the sign in my hand. I said, will you go to homecoming with me? And I never got an answer that same night. But a little later down the road, not too much later, and during this time, I actually signed up for wrestling. I started doing folk style wrestling. I started to sign up for the stuff and everything like that. Practice didn't start until late November, but I was still doing all the stuff. And that day I was off that day, so I got to go home. We were just doing like more like what was it? Workouts and stuff in the beginning before we got to practicing. So once we finished that, we would go to practice. During this time, when this happened, I think practice was still happening. I don't remember. No, practice wasn't still happening. I don't remember too much about back then schedule, but I remember like it was just during the workout time, and it was just right around the corner of practice coming up next week. So we did the little charade thing. It was all over the place, and a friend of mine texted me and said, "Oh my God, you asked the girl at the homecoming! I don't believe it." And one of my other friends was like, "Good job." Like, I remember that, and it was like a good moment. And then like we go into like November 10th and the 11th, there's nowhere to be found. I was like, uh-oh. What did he do? What did we do? What did we do? Because Saturday was the 12th, 11 was Friday. It was November 8th. I thought it was November 9th. It was November 8th of 2021 that we asked this girl out. It was a Tuesday. I remember it because it was a Tuesday and it was one of my least favorite days. It was a B-day. So, irony, right? It was a B-day, it was a Tuesday, it was November 8th, 2021, and she was nowhere to be found on the 9th, 10th, and 10th. She was nowhere to be found Wednesday or Thursday. I kind of felt upset because I was like, okay, this girl's not appearing for the past 2 days. I haven't seen her, but I've seen my friends. I've seen everybody else I know, but I've never seen her for the past 2 days. I was like, where's she at? What the hell? We go to the 11th, she comes back. I'm really getting my dates mixed up. Oh my god. Alright, so I thought it was Saturday. I just realized. Yes, I was correct. It was November 9th, 2021. It was a Tuesday, and the homecoming was that Friday night. She didn't appear for the past 2 days, and then the night of the homecoming, she appeared to school. I was looking for her. I looked at her, and I was like... kept moving, because at the time I would always plug my earplugs and just explore the hallways to get a feel for the school, because it was my first year back. So I just walked around the hallways. I still did it junior year, but yeah. Actually, this year I had a reason to. I got to talk to all my friends. Before we get to that, I want to talk about like what was going on. We go to November 12th, the night of homecoming. I text her. I said, hey, you still going? She says that she wanted to go with her friends, and she just didn't want to, like, she just wanted to go with her friends and go alone. I said, I completely respect that. So I just said, okay, wait there. So I leave her. So November 12th, that night, I start dancing, having a good time, and like, it's like, and she's gonna appear, and a whole bunch of people are like, where's your date? I'm like, I don't know. I had the attitude, like, I'm just having fun, bro. So, but yeah, she did finally appear. Her friends were coming up to me, like, hey, how are you doing? Like, we start dancing and shit like that, and then, like, she was walking away. I never checked it so hard, by the way. She walked away from us, and then I got told politely by her friend at one moment, because I wanted to go near the front, because they were playing my shit, I think they were playing my shit. Poker Face by Lady Gaga. Don't judge me. So I go to the front. A friend comes up to me and says, hey, my friend's not comfortable. Can you kind of move away? At that moment, I was a little annoyed. I was like, okay. Why would you be uncomfortable? I'm just dancing. Minding my own fucking business. Okay. We go into next week, and I think it was literally 15th, I think, November 15th it was, on that Monday, that I get told that she was dating someone the whole time. What pisses me off the most is it was her friend who helped me ask this girl in the first place. I was like, what the fuck? So apparently, the whole time that we were doing this, the whole time that we did this little incident, this whole ask out thing, this whole thing, went to the dance itself, she was in the middle of dating the friend who helped me make the sign. Because he didn't go to the dance. He didn't even go to the dance. Okay. Interesting. So, like, and a few of my friends recently said, you should have fought the guy. I'm like, yeah. But then everything got twisted. This is the problem with what I had with it was, we'll talk about that later. We'll just continue the story. So, apparently she was dating this other dude this whole fucking time, my friend. I didn't feel betrayed, I just kind of felt very annoyed that my friend didn't tell me this whole time, because the whole time I didn't know. Everyone just assumed that I knew the entire time. And it was like, well, I'm not fucking popular, so how the fuck would I know? And you didn't say anything, so how did I know? And I kind of felt annoyed. So I looked like the guy who was being the jerk, who was trying to steal away someone else's girlfriend. And it annoyed me a lot, kind of. It really did bug me for a while, but I had wrestling going on, so I had that to bug me as well. So not only could I not focus on whatever that was, I had to focus on wrestling. I made sure that wrestling was the biggest priority before anything else at all. Like my wrestling career, my pro wrestling career, I had to make sure that these two stayed intact and as strong as possible, because if I let anything screw me up and these things go away, I will no longer be the lunatic and I will no longer be me. I will be some void. I don't know. But at the time, I made sure that wrestling and pro wrestling were my biggest priorities. They were, and they stayed that way for the longest time possible. Actually, no, not the longest time possible. They stayed that way forever, for the rest of the, 2022, 2023 now, everywhere. So, with all that being said, November was interesting. The whole month was interesting. I wrestled, but during the whole thing, I was kind of mentally drained. I was mentally done, because the girl that I looked at as the fucking most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my entire life, more beautiful than my other crushes, she was, I just liked her, a lot. I just wanted to be with her, because she was beautiful as hell. I was like, oh wow. But when I found out I couldn't be with her, it was like, damn, did I fumble? Did I fuck up? Did I really just get lied to? Did I get played by two people? What? Everything was getting to my brain, and I was letting it consume me so much that it mentally drained me to the point of where I didn't want to wrestle anymore. It was that bad. I let it drain me. I don't know why, and this is the thing that doesn't happen to me no more. And actually, it doesn't happen to me anymore, where things like that will drain me. I got drained so bad to the point where I skipped pro wrestling practice. I skipped regular wrestling practice. Basically, my school wrestling practice and what I was doing at home. I skipped doing both. I didn't want to do it anymore. It just had no interest. And days I would force myself to do it, I had no interest in doing it anymore. I was that drained. I just didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to listen to sad music, sit and do nothing. And it sucked. It sucked for the longest time. Just recently, my coach, Mr. Giovanetti, he said, girls will fuck you up. Could have said that last year, man. You could have said it the year before. Because guess what? They did. They fucked me up pretty bad 1 year before. So with that incident happening, that it sucked. I don't know what it was. I think with me, I was kind of sensitive to certain things. So that's why it drained me so much. And it drained me to the point where I didn't want to wrestle anymore. And I was really losing who I was. And I really was losing the lunatic in general. And I was just actually depressed. I was depressed. I didn't, I wanted to live, but I didn't want to do anything anymore. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I even sat in school during gym class. I walked outside. I sat in the hallway with no one figuring me out, and literally let my emotions go. I couldn't hold them back anymore. I let all the emotions out in the hallway. Probably my security camera's still there to this day, but I let all my emotions out. I couldn't hold it anymore. I wanted to go home and do that, but I couldn't do it, and I just let them all out there privately. A friend of mine, I forget his name, and he came out. He looked at me. He said, "Hey, you alright, bro?" I was like, a lot of my own stuff though. He says, "Hey, I know. Get it. Just let me know if you're hurting or anything like that." And he goes back in the gym. Yeah, I was kind of fucked up this time. We go into January 2022. I start getting back to the groove. Wrestling, folk style wrestling is what it's called for high school. It wasn't a good year. It just sucked. It was mainly because of the fact that I was really distracted and the fact that I really couldn't focus, and I really kind of fucked myself over. It could have been a better year. It could have been the best first year ever, but it wasn't, because I let myself get so utterly distracted and screwed up that I couldn't focus on it, and I regret that. I really do regret that. So anyway, we move on to February 2022. It was a year anniversary. It was the 2-year anniversary of Wanted to Die. I didn't care. It is what it was. And I said, you know what? I remember that from 2 years ago. You know what I feel today? I feel pretty fucking good. So we kind of just moved into 2022. 2022 was a very nice, welcoming year. February happened and everything was like the way it was. It was just normal. March happened and like kept moving on. March, May, April, whatever. All the months together. And nothing really interesting happened. I would say there was one point where we had a new lunch spot and I would hang out with my friends. And I went to do something really stupid. I made a fool of myself in the fucking hallway. Where I tried to hit the back of my friend's knee, and I ended up collapsing on the floor when I went to do it because I was doing so over dramatically that I ended up going, fell over. Everyone started dying laughing. Even the people that were sat next to us were like this, like that. Like, it was a very interesting time. Then at one point, the two of us, three of us actually, me, Nathaniel, and my new friend Eli, we started to make friends and started talking, and we all became friends. Eli was telling Nathaniel. They were just talking about something. He was like, you won't. Daniel does that. And that was funny as shit. Like, it was hilarious. Like, I bolted out because I thought someone was gonna come out and find us. But it was funny. So I was like laughing, I was dying, I was like, oh my god. It was hilarious. We go over to June. June was just June because of plain old year. July. Let's talk about before we get into July. June, I ended up signing up for football this year. I wanted to try it. I was interested in trying it for my junior year. I wanted to give it a shot. I said, you know what? I haven't tried football in over 2 years. Let's try it. We do the workouts. I enjoy the workouts. I actually enjoyed it, but my nervous system, like my anxiety was still there. Kind of still there. It's no longer there anymore, but it was still kind of there. So I got nervous a few times, and I had to use it, and I left one time feeling ill, unfortunately. But then that all went away afterwards. And I was there that same day. Actually, not that same day. And I was like, during the whole time I was doing football, I was enjoying the workouts. Like, the workouts are fun. Like, in the beginning, it was like, okay. And then, like, you started doing workouts, I was like, okay, I'm getting stronger. I feel good. It's good. I get stronger, and we were doing all this conditioning and everything like that. And it was good. We go to practice, and it was a little different. I go into a room specifically for what the position I wanted. I go into the position that I wanted to go for, which was wide receiver, something that I actually was practicing back in 8th grade to try and go for. So I go to wide receiver. Obviously, there was a whole already good wide receivers there, but I just wanted to give it a shot. That way I can be an extra. Let me tell you, I was told about like all these code stuff, code names, and everything like that. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to remember shit. But I said, you know what, we can try. I said, don't give up. Let's give it a shot. Go to practice. And let me tell you something. If you are into football and you love football, you will have fun at practice. Because you're practicing for something you want and you like it. Let me tell you, if you don't like football like a whole lot, or you just don't want to do it, or it's like something you're not into, you're not going to like it. And the whole time that I was there, I was bored. I was bored out of my mind. I cannot describe how bored I was. I just didn't want to be there. I just wanted to leave. I was like, can we just get the day over with? I'm gonna go fucking home. Like, that was my attitude the whole time I was there. Then we got to a point where we were doing like these station things. We were like 4 certain stations. And there was a tackle part, the part where you tackle somebody. I had fun with that. That was my favorite. I love to just tackle because you can do full speed and not give a shit. And just go, like, boom. Ram the guy. Pause. Just ram the guy. Pause. So, you do that, and I had fun with that one because it was a cool tackle simulation. You kind of do all the other practice stuff, and it was like, whatever, I guess. We get a text message on my phone. I get a text. We're doing uppers, lowers. Like, we're getting the padding and everything. We're gonna get the helmet and everything. We got the helmet already, but we're gonna get through the helmet and the uppers and everything like that. We're about to get started on that. I gave up. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I didn't give up on football. It's just that I'm not into it anymore. Like, I just wasn't interested in doing the sport. I was so utterly bored that I felt like I was wasting someone's time. I felt like I was wasting the entire team's time because I was there and I was bored. I didn't want to be there anymore. and I didn't want to do it. I loved the workouts. The workouts were great. The workouts were fun. The conditioning was good. They were good. But when it came to practice, I was bored. I didn't want to be there. I couldn't be bothered. And I really felt like a point in my head and my heart, like I was given this little sheet about mindset, about myself. What do you see yourself doing? And I didn't see myself at all as a football player. I always saw myself as a professional wrestler. And I kind of felt really upset. And it was like one thing that crossed my mind. I said, look at you, you're taking someone's spot who could have been in your spot, who wanted to do this and could have made the team. Remember that. July 19th. I think it was July 19th or July 18th. I'm not too great with dates right now. It was either one of them. It was July 18th or 19th, 2022. I decided to leave football. In the morning, I didn't go to the workouts. I decided not to go because the same day we had practice. I called one of my boys. I said, let's do a pro wrestling match. He says, all right. But we have a classic. Absolute classic. We had a little bit of them. A friend of mine was there as well. He brought one of his friends, a Raider guy. Obviously there was a referee and a Raider guy. The Raiders guy rates how good the match is and says it is good material. So every match was recorded. We had a classic match. And I had the championship belt. I hold it up in the air. Happy. Proud of everything. I was so proud of myself that I made the biggest decision of my life to pick what I really wanted to do with my life. What I really wanted to do in the future. What I really wanted was professional wrestling. That's what I wanted. I love professional wrestling more than anything else in this world. And this title around my waist, only me. I'm defending 2 titles, the Universal and the Championship. And I promise you, they staying with me for the whole fucking rest of 2022. And in 2023, we were gonna have a double champion. And I wanted to fight for it. So I fought for it. And I'm still am to this day. Still fighting for it. And I still want it. It's not gonna change. We kind of moved a little bit forward out of the summer. I had a great summer that year, and it was amazing. And something I wish I could have back because it was the greatest year of my life. It was great. We hit August. August was fine. We had our little show. I did a thing with a few friends, and it was good. I had another great picture taken, and it's probably gonna show while recording this. I had a nice little picture taken. But the whole time, I loved professional wrestling. Like, I just loved everything. I just couldn't get enough of it. I loved watching it. And every time I watched it, I find myself going back outside. Like, I just could not stop watching it. It was the one thing that I loved the most, and I still do to this day. It's just, it's too good to me, it's too good to let go. I love it too much. We go to September. September hits up. And school is back. We're back in the junior year. It starts out pretty rocky. Actually, no. It starts out pretty good. And actually, during this time, 2022, it was my last year in my grandma's house because my grandma decided to sell her house. She couldn't afford it no more. After my grandfather died back in 2020, we couldn't afford the house no more. I did forget to mention this in the last episode, too. Damn. So, during this time, my grandma didn't have a house, so she had to like find an apartment and a temporary place, and she ended up doing so, and she found a temporary place. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. September was an okay month. It was just a bland month, really. But during the whole time of the summer, I made friends with Elijah. Me and Eli actually got really along, and me and him actually clicked up, and like we became boys very quickly. And we enjoyed each other's lives. We listened to each other's stories, and we just talked to each other. And we even played on the game. I played on my Xbox and everything else, and even my PlayStation as well. It was a great time. We moved forward. It was September, and then my mom at the time, we finally got this apartment, and we got it that same year in April, that month, that year in April, we got this apartment. Yo, what's up, people? So, what's up? This is mine. So, yeah, Oh my god, the first night was suckish. I did not have Wi-Fi and I had to watch my phone. It was terrible. But then we finally got Wi-Fi and I had my TV. Yeah. So, anyway. We moved from there to like back what I was saying back in September. I always keep pushing it off. Like something happened. Nothing happened in September. It was a bland month. October happened. Eli gives me a fat reality check for some reason. He calls me out on something he's been noticing lately, and he tells me what's up. He tells me it, and I realized that yeah, you're right. I've been doing that. So what I did was I changed myself, and I did exactly that. So for the rest of the year, smooth sailing. We go into November. It's okay. In December. It was okay. December was actually good. I did sign back up for wrestling once again, and I had a way better career. I actually had a pretty even split record, too. So, it was a good year for me that year, and I enjoyed it very nicely. It was the best year in my very opinion, and also my last year. I'll explain that in a few minutes. So, we move on. We go into January. It's January 2023. Nothing much really happens. We go into February, and nothing really much happens again. It was Valentine's Day, and I asked someone I knew to be my Valentine, and they said no, and then they said yeah the same day. I was fucking confused. Whatever. So we move into March. I got a fat check because apparently the girl I was talking to ended up not being the girl I thought she was, and yeah, we went to another problem. Fucked up again. Actually, this time I didn't really get fucked up at all. I did not. I just had a moment where I was like, damn, why didn't I see that? Why didn't I pay attention? So it was like just one moment, like a few minutes. Literally, that was about it. And then like move forward, we go into April and May, and it was okay. Wait a minute, that just happened. Alright, so we go into April. April was a good, okay month. May happened, it was my birthday month. 17, baby. And I turned 17, and I remember last year's birthday going to a Lucky Snake arcade. Welcome to the Lucky Snake arcade, baby. Woo! And that was a fun time. And then this year we went down to Wildwood Boardwalk, and we had fun. We were trying to play games, but we really didn't do much, and I was kind of upset because my mom and mom's friend, we didn't do much. I'm kind of annoyed that every time we go out for my birthday, it's only like a few 5 good fat 10 minutes of us having fun, and then we're just gone, and it's like, what the fuck? What was the point of coming here? We're just gonna last 10 minutes and get the fuck out. But there's one thing I did forget to mention about February of 2022. I mentioned that nothing really much happened. That is actually a lie. Back in February 2022, I ended up going to my very first live event in All Elite Wrestling. The same night that CM Punk and Jon Moxley both teamed up, my favorite wrestlers at the time. Still today are my favorites, but back then it meant a lot. So when I went for my very first All Elite Wrestling show, I loved it. It was a blast. It was fucking awesome. I enjoyed every minute of it. I enjoyed CM Punk's entrance. That was awesome. When I got the surprise entrance of Jon Moxley, I was scrambling around with my camera looking for John. I was like, where the fuck is he? I was sitting next to a guy, he was like standing like on the ramp area where you go down to go find your seat, and he wore a CM Punk shirt with a Dean Ambrose hoodie. He says, what is the coincidence of me wearing the Ambrose hoodie and the Punk t-shirt, and they both team up on the same night? I said, what's the coincidence of me going to my very first and I get to see both my favorites on the same damn night, teaming up together? And it was a very interesting time. It was fun as shit. I will never forget the two moments that happened with CM Punk's theme playing and the whole crowd singing Cult of Personality. I will never forget the moment where Chris Jericho came out and we all sung Judas in My Mind by Fozzy, and that was literally a moment where I knew pro wrestling was everything to me, and I loved it. We go into August of 2022. I did mention nothing happened there again, but I went to my very first WWE live event that night. I couldn't be more disappointed. And this is where I learned WWE was not for me. It was not going to have the same excitement. Like, not only was it just a standard live event and it wasn't televised, but it still was boring regardless. Like, it could have had something. It had a cool tables match at the end, but it just wasn't that good. We had like multiple matches. I got to see Seth Rollins in person, and I was pretty happy about that. But like, we were there and it was not as fun as the AEW show. Like, even though they're just live events to WWE and they're not like big stuff, they could have like cool moments happen at least. Like, come on now. But it wasn't as good, and I was really disappointed that night. I walked out with a new belt, and I walked out with AJ Styles gloves, which I wonder where the fuck I actually. Probably somewhere in my closet. But anyway, we moved back to 2023. We were in June last month, and it was a pretty interesting month, and it was good. It was the last month of school. Me and my friend Elijah, we have a friend named Andrew, and we always like to torture this guy. We always like to joke around and just annoy the guy because it was always funny. And he always had this funny ass reactions. Like, if we said something fucking out of pocket, he'll be like this to go, "You're so weird, bro. Weirdo. Whoa. Weird." He just had these funny ass reactions, and me and Eli would just start dying of laughter because of how funny it was. And our math teacher, bless her soul, man, like, she was like a nice teacher. She was a cool teacher, and kind of like a hangout thing. We were pretty chill with her. She kept annoying the crap out of me though, and it kind of annoyed me though. It was like, okay. And at one point, she gave me a weird ass nickname, and Eli was like, I'm like, shut up. I didn't like the nickname. The nickname was weird, and it just seemed like, what the fuck? It was a weird fucking nickname. Don't worry, it was nothing like out of pocket. It was basically, if I had to say it, it was Jakey Bear. It was basically that. And that nickname is still annoying to hear today. If someone were to call me that, I will punch you in your face. Literally, don't call me that. I don't like that name. But anyway, we move into now July, and then here we are in August. How much has really happened? I've gamed with my friends almost all the time, and we have good times. Interesting conversations. I had my first fight in January, and my opponent fucking forfeited. Okay. He just forfeited. I don't know. Okay. Okay, you forfeit. Whatever. It was in the village. I went to the village for the very first time, and wore skinny jeans to the fight, and a whole bunch of people were looking at me like, what the fuck you wearing skinny jeans for to a fight? Like, what? And I was like, man, just my wardrobe, and I didn't give a fuck. Like, that's all I can say. He forfeited mid-fucking fight because he was tired. And obviously everyone knows if you're in a fight, you can't just quit mid-fight because you're tired. He basically just forfeited, threw in the towel early. I fucking won by forfeit. I'm a little annoyed at the fact that I won by forfeit, but you know what? We settled our beef, and our beef is no longer there. We just like we annoy each other by roasting each other sometimes, but we don't get anything personal, like saying anything about our family, like dead parents or whatever. We don't do that. That's about all I can say. save for our relationship. So anyway, that's everything from middle school to now. And from this day on, this is really basically the ending of the documentary, kind of. So I hope everything that I explain in this documentary was a very good enough explanation for everything. I did enjoy the time that we had here. It was a good time. I'm gonna say, middle school to now, pretty interesting. So my senior year is coming up. I don't know what's next for me. I hope to get my job and get a car and get started on my life, because I'm ready. And I did have this really cool, bizarre dream that I do want to mention this thing, where I was married to someone that I don't think I knew them, but like I was married and I had kids and I had a life and I had everything. And I was married. I had kids, I had a beautiful wife, and I had a life, and everything was nice. Everything was great. And I was at peace with my mind. I didn't feel unhappy. I was just happy all around, and I was basically myself. And I think, in my very opinion, why is it so dark? It doesn't have to be dark anymore. I think there's going to be a little bit of a light coming through, and finally making the darkness into something better and something greater. I hope, and hopefully, that happens. I'm looking forward to that day too. So, in conclusion of this documentary, why is it so dark? I would like to say one more thing. Thank you for listening.